I would say that Family is perfect for anybody who runs any kind of child management kind of program. So for me, it's after school tutoring. We have a lot of kids that we have to track and keep track of. And there's just so much that's involved for parent communication. And so anybody who has to manage a lot of kids, wants to communicate easily with parents, and keep track of like what goals and milestones the kids are reaching, this is the perfect app for it. Yeah, so on a day-to-day basis, my company is using Family to check kids in and out. Safety is really important, especially because we have kids coming in. We're doing pickup at a lot of different schools, so the parents aren't necessarily always the ones dropping the kids off. So it gives them a lot of peace of mind knowing when their child has arrived at our location and that they got there safely. So that's one of the big ones that we use. The sign out system with the PIN also really allows us to know who these kids can and can't go home with, which is really important for their safety as well. The other thing that we use it regularly for is tracking student progress and parent communication. So again, because we're mostly doing tutoring, our kids are all on customized learning plans that list out like the key academic goals that the kids are reaching, plus the step-by-step objectives they need to meet in order to hit those goals. So the parents then through Family have a copy of the learning plan that each child is working through, and then on the regular we're able to upload updates and send them feedback, so that way they not only are getting it from the tutors verbally when they're getting picked up, but also have a documented area where they can go to see what their kids' progress is looking like. Yeah, so we chose Family because we had done actually quite a lot of research on other platforms, and most platforms are geared at early childhood development programs, so nurseries, preschools, those sorts of situations, and Family actually is geared towards that as well, but they were the group that had the most adaptable system. So we were able to pretty easily see how we could take the system that they had set up and adapt it to working with older school age children. So that was one of the main reasons that we chose Family. Additionally, we really appreciated the way that the team was so collaborative. So I reached out just with an inquiry, and within 24 hours, I was talking with Michelle and a couple other people at the company who were giving me really good feedback and information on what I would need to do in order to onboard and adapt it to my specific situation. And that was another big part of why we ended up choosing to go with Family. Yeah, so before Family, we had clipboards and a whole bunch of like disparate Google Docs. And it was not a great system. Stuff was falling through the cracks. I was trying to integrate a payment processor from one CRM with a bunch of stuff on Google Docs with a bunch of like paper things that we were doing. And it was just a mess. And it was really hard because we, at the time, were multi-site, so we had things spread out all over the place. So Family really helped to systematize that, put it all in one spot, and make it so that my team was able to quickly get that information. The parents were able to quickly get the information that they needed, and it just streamlined things so beautifully. Getting started with Family definitely had a little bit of a learning curve, but I think that would have been the case with any system that we were onboarding, particularly because we had to customize it so much since we weren't the typical use case for who the app was developed for. But the staff at Family were so incredibly helpful. They jumped on lots of calls with us to help us understand both the front and the back end parts of the program. I mean, they didn't give us access to the back end, but they explained how it worked. So that way, when I was interacting with it from the front end, I could kind of adapt what I was doing to mesh well with how the programming of the app worked. And then we were able to adapt and fix up things so that way it was exactly the way that we needed it to be. Yeah, if you are thinking about getting Family, I would definitely encourage you to give it a try. Make sure that you have planned in your schedule enough time to get started and onboarded with a new system, so that way the parents also have plenty of training to know, well, not so much training, but so that way the parents have plenty of time to get used to the idea of switching over to a new system. I noticed that our parents needed probably about a month of time of being sent regularly videos and help articles on how everything worked, and offering to let people come in so we could help them get everything set up. So that transition process took about a month. And then once that initial transition happened, it's been smooth sailing ever since.